Hi, I'm Monique,
And I'm Sandra.
and we're the Ballet Sisters.
We grew up dancing together, focusing mostly on ballet. We both went to university for ballet, and Monique ended up doing some choreography after that, and her career has, flourished because of her ballet dancing. And I was a teacher for many years, a dance teacher. And we are starting our new YouTube channel together as the Ballet Sisters. We're such ballet nerds that we felt that as sisters, we needed to give everybody some of the ballet nerdness in us.
And bring you along for the ride because we know there's lots of
Yes,
ballet nerds out
absolutely.
there.
If you don't have a ballet sister, we'll be your ballet sisters.
Yes, I love it. So last year, we were being such ballet nerds. We fell in love with the Prix de Lausanne. I had watched it a bit in the last few years, but we decided to go full tilt with it. We created spreadsheets. We had many Zoom calls. We
We
watched it
did.
together. It was amazing. It was amazing. It was a total ballet nerd like perfection. So we wanted to help people be able to watch it this year with us. The Prix de Lausanne this year is happening. There are classes and coaching that you can watch on YouTube from February 3rd till 6th. So Monday to Thursday are classes and coaching, and then they do a performance on the Friday, the 7th, and the big finalist competition is on Saturday, the 8th. It is the preeminent ballet competition, I would say, in the world right now. For 15 to 18-year-olds, it's kind of right on the cusp of their career. The thing that makes it really unique is it's not just one performance that they're judged on. It's a whole week of classes. They also get coaching for their variations, contemporary and classical variations, and then they do two performances at the end that they're judged on. So it's quite a in-depth competition in the sense that the
Yeah,
jury is watching. Yeah, go ahead.
it's a full week, and it's like you said, very intense for these 15 to 18-year-olds. So fun to watch.
You just made me think about the fact that last year I looked up how much it would cost to go there for the two of us. So
Oh,
one day in the future, one day we'll go and we'll watch it all.
one day we will go and bring you all with us.
Perfect. The first competition was in 1973, a long time ago. It slowly built to include things like the Royal Ballet got involved. It was televised on many different channels around the world, so it's really grown over the years. In the 80s, they introduced the contemporary variations too. And it was interesting when I was reading it, partly it was due to the fact that they wanted to highlight young, kind of modern contemporary choreographers, which they still do. Every year they have two contemporary pieces that were choreographed by young Prix de Lausanne competitors from years before. So that's very cool. And they just wanted to challenge with the contemporary pieces dancers to be off their center and bring in more of their personality, emotions, that kind of thing to their pieces and challenge themselves in those ways. In the 80s, they also introduced coaching. So there are ballet teachers and even some of the contemporary choreographers that come and will coach all the students through their pieces before they do their performances. So it's really neat to see what they are coached on and what they can kind of bring out of the students. You get to see them
Mhm.
progress until that final performance, which is really unique.
I love watching the coaching. It's so interesting that, first of all, being a competition, all of these dancers have prepped and prepped and prepped. And
Yes.
even though they're prepped as dancers, we know there's always something that can be tweaked. Even as you said, the contemporary pieces, to have the choreographer coach them is invaluable.
Another thing that's unique, I find, with this competition is that it seems like it's very kind of family. Once you're in the Prix de Lausanne family, you stay there because a lot of the
Hmm.
former prize winners are become jury members or choreographers, teachers, etc. The main teacher for the contemporary classes this year was a prize winner in like 2001.
Yeah, and I'm going to talk about the jury a little bit, but a lot of the jury, which is nine people, so it's a jury competition. A lot of them are former winners of the Prix de Lausanne, so like you said, it's very much a family.
Something that kind of like really pinpoints the uniqueness of this competition, I think, even just the feel of it and stuff. I found this really interesting, really neat quote on their website. It says the candidates interviewed during the Prix de Lausanne week all testified to the fact that the competition is distinguished by a spirit of interaction rather than competition, and by a friendly atmosphere
Mm,
pervaded by a sense of sharing. So I love that, distinguished
yeah,
by a spirit of interaction and not competition. And that to me is where people really thrive and like can be their
right.
best selves when it's not that feeling of me against you. It's
Yeah,
feeling of everyone gets elevated by each other. And it just shows to me that like their goal with the competition is to foster like
yeah. To not let
positivity. Like it's not about putting
yes,
you down, it's about raising you up kind of thing. Yeah, yeah.
yes,
Mhm.
yeah.
I wanted to highlight some of the teachers that are going to be teaching the actual classes that you can watch. Um, we love watching the classes because we're total
Yeah.
ballet kids and ballet nerds and etc.
And I was a teacher. Well, you were a teacher too.
Not really. She was the teacher. I worked for her years ago, but yes. The teacher for the girls is her name is Elizabeth Platel. She's been teaching for the Prix de Lausanne since 2019. She was there last year. We watched her last year. She's from the Paris Opera Ballet. She danced for Paris Opera Ballet. Now she's the director of the Paris Opera Ballet School. So amazing teacher, high up
Yeah.
there. I remember last year she was very like exacting about her correction. She can get a lot out of those really high level students, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And she moves pretty quickly. We found that. I remember last year we were like, wow, these kids are quick to learn these combinations and stuff. So
Yes.
definitely
Yeah.
challenging for sure.
High level classes, definitely high level.
The male teacher, the boys teacher, is going to be Yoel Carreno. He's a new teacher, so this will be his first year doing classes. He's from the National Ballet of Cuba. He was born in Cuba. Um, and now he teaches at the Oslo National Academy of the Arts. Oh, and he's new this year, but he did teach the class before their performances last year, so might have been a bit of a resume kind of thing, trial
Yeah.
thing. So
Yeah.
yeah. Anyways, he passed the test. He's doing these classes. So very amazing,
There
very
you
amazing.
go.
Yes. And then the contemporary teacher, which is like I just read this recently and I was amazed. Her name is Sarawani Tanatanit. She's from Thailand. She has an interesting
Oh,
story. She grew up as a gymnast. She was like a high
okay.
level gymnast in Thailand. She came to Vancouver, Canada, which I am presently sitting in right now. I live there. She came to Vancouver to train for gymnastics and ended up going to the Go Ballet in Vancouver, which is literally like
Yeah.
2 blocks away from here.
Yeah.
And so I just thought that was amazing that she had a connection to Vancouver. She went on to win the Prix de Lausanne in 2001. She danced at American Ballet Theatre for years. And now she's working to bring kind of that high level of dance teaching to Thailand, which is just so
Love
cool. Yeah,
that.
I'm like all
Love
over
that.
watching her classes and I'm excited. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So yeah, so those are the teachers. Like I say, we love watching the classes. It's so amazing. You learn so much from them. And it sounds like the teachers are going to be amazing this year. So yeah.
Yeah. So I did a little research on the jurors this year. Last year I hadn't done that, so it was kind of fun to look and see who they have as the jurors, and there's some very prestigious people in the ballet world. I'll just give you an idea of some of them. There certainly all that information is on the Prix de Lausanne's website, but they do have nine jurors. One of them being the president of the jurors, and there's a vice president of the jurors. And they range. All the jurors range from uh, former pre winners to lots of prima ballerina, principal dancers from companies across the world. There's also some very prestigious teachers and coaches that are on the jurors. So there's a great combination of different backgrounds to really bring a jury to where they can really give a good overview of all the dancers. So just to highlight a few things, the president of the jury is Laurent Hilaire. He is a former principal dancer with the Paris Opera Ballet. He was named an étoile, which is like a star or principal dancer with the Paris Opera Ballet. He was named an étoile by Rudolf Nureyev, which is pretty cool. Yes. Yep, not a big deal. He is currently the director of the Bavarian State Ballet in Munich. And so he's got some pretty interesting and amazing background there. An interesting one was Skylar Campbell. He is a former principal dancer with the National Ballet of Canada. Woohoo, Canada. We love the National Ballet. He is currently a principal at the Houston Ballet. So, and he was a finalist in the Prix. So he was a principal dancer with the National for many years. So I want to kind of look back at him and do a little bit of a deep dive for myself on him. Like I said, lots of very interesting people on the jury, and even even watching them, I nerd out as a ballet nerd. There's scholarships and there's awards, and the big thing about this competition is, of course, looking for the scholarships. So scholarships for the 15 and 16-year olds, boys and girls, are the winners get 1 year of education at a partner school. And like Monique said earlier, there are some amazing schools that have partnered with the Prix de Lausanne. And now, of course, these 15 and 16-year olds are now kind of competing for 1 year of education at one of these prestigious dance schools.
Can take you from like to hugely different levels when you get to, go and practice at a place like that.
Such a launching pad for their careers, for sure. And then also scholarships for the 17 and 18-year olds are apprenticeships. So 1 year internship at a partner company, which again, huge launching pad for their careers. So to get a 1 year internship at a company, and again, the Prix has amazing companies that they've partnered with, is such a start for their careers, for sure. For sure.
Which again is why you probably which is why you hear about a lot of major ballet dancers having won the Prix, because that was probably the launching point for them too, like years ago, kind of thing.
Absolutely.
So yeah. Mm-hmm.
They also have some fun awards. They have an award for the best contemporary dancer. They have one called Young Talent, so that's for the 15-year olds. They have what they call the Public Award. So you have to have been there at the actual theater, and they get to vote, and there is a public award. But this is interesting, and I don't know if we knew this last year, Monique. They have a web public prize, so you could vote on. I know. So those of us that are watching can vote online the day of the finals. So we're going to have to look a little further into that, because I would love to be able to vote. So they have that prize as well. So yeah, there's lots of fun different awards, and then of course the really important scholarships that everybody's trying to get.
One aspect that's unique too about this competition is that they're really kind of, the judges are looking not just for that perfection of performance, but for looking for the potential that dancer has, especially with the younger groups. And last year, the dancer that won kind of the big prize and stuff, he was in the younger boys group, and the way that he took on classes was amazing. Like he stood out in classes for the amount of work he put in, and the drive, and kind of even the risk taking that he took in classes. So I think that's a big reason he ended up winning that all, was because of what he put into the classes. So just kind of a very different viewpoint of a competition, that you're really judging the potential that student has, that dancer has. So yeah.
So for the dancers' variations that they get to choose from, the Prix de Lausanne picks specific variations, but they have a big choice. There's about 15 to 16 for each group. So the girls A group has slightly different variations to choose from for instance the girls B group.
The girls B group
We
is the higher, the 17 and 18-year-olds. Yeah.
So there's some pretty uh famous variations that are in there. There's some that aren't so famous. There's some great ballets, of course, represented within them, such as Giselle, Sleeping Beauty, Le Corsaire, yep, Bikita, lots of everything. So I we've both looked through most of the variations, and there's a list of the variations on the Prix de Lausanne website. So we've kind of, as we said at the beginning, we've kind of nerded out. We've created spreadsheets. We we are having fun with it.
I made a playlist on YouTube
Yes.
of all the variations for this year's Prix de Lausanne, just examples of them from this year. And so we'll definitely put that in the description too as a link. So if you wanted to watch all of them and get an idea of what the variations are.
Yeah, like an example would be my some of my favorites are the Giselle variations, just because they're a little different. They're the peasant girl kind of feel to them, rather than the full classical ballet tutu kind of feel. I really enjoy the Le Corsaire variations. There's also some really common variations. For instance, a lot of the younger girl dancers did the variation from The Awakening of Flora last year. It's, and I'm assuming we're going to see a lot of it this year. And then for boys, we've got the Bluebird variation from Sleeping Beauty.
You can't go wrong. You can't go wrong with the Bluebird variation, either male or female. Like it's a classic.
Right.
Yeah, yeah.
And the Scottish La Sylphide, where you've got the boy dancer in a kilt. Love that. That's a fun character dance for the boys. For the older girls, the Esmeralda variation with the tambourine is always popular.
Classic. Yeah, yeah. And it what is it? Yeah, Don Q with the fan too. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Which are good tests of using props for sure.
It's all about the confidence that the dancer has with their prop. What are some of the variations you're interested in kind of seeing this year?
I realized like I went through all of them. The younger variations, the ones for 15 and 16, tend to be shorter and they're a bit more like lively often. One of the ones that I really liked in the kind of younger version, it's Le Bayadere. It was the third soloist. And it's so slow at the beginning. You have to do these like long développés into second. And it's just, yeah. If you want to watch the playlist, the competitor that did it a few years ago, just like unworldly, amazing. The Capelia, the girl variation, it is hard, but it also like it's again kind of like the peasanty, feel. It's not like the classical tattoo kind of look or tutu. The music is so dynamic. There's a lot of chance for character work, and there's like slow. It's just overall like it really can show you off as like a full dancer kind of thing, instead of being like, oh, this is all about turns or this is all about jumps. Like it gives a masterclass kind of to me of like ballet. So anyways, that's one of my faves. And there's the Raymonda variation too. I think partly because the girl did it last year was like amazing too. It's a rare one. I think she was the only one that did it last year because it is like a bit more of a mature piece. To me, like you really need like she really just expressed so much emotion in it, and there's kind of a feeling of longing and stuff. So it's a rare one for people of this age to do, but she did amazing. And to be able to do that piece well, you have to be amazing. So yeah.
And as we know as dancers, picking the right piece for the right dancer is a big part of this.
The male variations, here's a ballet opinion. A lot of the male variations are very similar, like a lot of tours,
Yes.
it's a lot of turns and jumps, right? So to find ones that like are a little bit unique maybe, or like yeah, was a little bit harder, but that's just ballet in
Yeah.
general kind of thing. But I did like a few of the ones. There's the Golden Idol variation.
I knew you were going to talk about that one.
It's from La Bayadere. Well, that one, and also the Diana and Aceton.
Yes.
Well, anyways, both of those, like, they're what I call like the tunic, like the Greek goddess kind of ballets, right? Of like the
Yes.
early kind of 1900s. I'm even thinking like Apollo and like the fawn,
Yes.
the all that kind of, yeah. Anyways, looking into my
Yes.
ballet history now too, but yeah, they're just unique in the sense that they have a different feel and like a kind of a bit more moderny kind of look and feel, less just like a lot of tours and a lot of turns. I think the one that's my favorite is the Prince Albrecht variation, the Giselle one. It's again a little bit
Yeah.
more like it's very princely. You need to have like ballon. You need to have amazing like airiness to everything because they
Yeah.
like land a jump and have to do this massive back bend, and it's emotional.
Core strength.
It's in the middle of it, like it's Act Two of Giselle. Things are intense. Like it's just yeah. And again, I think you have to be a bit more mature to get a really good, performance out of that kind of thing. So I'll be interested to see if
Yeah.
there's any boys that are kind of at that level to be able to do that variation.
And I noticed also the boys B, so the 17 and 18-year-olds, do have a variation from the Nutcracker that they can choose from as well.
The contemporary variations this year, I went through and watched them. The ones that really kind of piqued me, one that was, these two were available last year also. They're Christopher Wheeldon, amazing choreographer. He was also a prize winner at Prix de Lausanne back in the day, so there you go. Both of the variations, the male and the female variation, they're from a ballet that he created with Joni Mitchell music, which Joni Mitchell is Canadian, so we love her. Like you're
Yeah.
born loving her if you live in Canada. And so there's
Yeah.
something really like 70s feeling and just like, I don't know, there's a really neat feel to it. The female variation, especially to it's on point, which is different. Most of the contemporary variations are on flat feet kind of thing, no shoes. This one is specifically on point. So that's something to think about, I think, for the competitors. Do you want to do two variations on point or just one, right? So,
Yeah.
but there's something really like, again, the movement is just so airy and flowy and unique. The male
Yeah.
variation especially is very like ethereal, angelic kind of feeling and stuff. So yeah, so very cool. The one that I also wanted to talk about was it's called Groovin', and it was by Quinn
Okay.
Bates. Quinn Bates is 19 years old. What? He is one of the
Wow.
two. Him and the other girl is Ksenia Kasava. So they're both young ballet dancers who have competed in Prix de Lausanne and also did this choreography competition. So their pieces are being performed by dancers that are like their peers essentially, which is amazing that they got
Yeah.
this opportunity as choreographers at such a young age. The great thing about these younger dancers doing choreography is that they know what it's like to be 17, 18 years old. And I find that their pieces are often the ones that get highlighted a lot because I think the
Mm.
dancers really relate to the
Yeah.
choreography, right? Like it's emotional, but in an emotional way of what a 15 to 18-year-old is feeling. Most of these solos are gender neutral. So they could be
Yeah.
performed by the female competitors or the male competitors. There's only a few that are specifically male or female, which makes it interesting too to see different kind of bodies relating to different pieces.
You had said earlier that sometimes some of these variations, especially the contemporary ones, you can see 4 or 5 dancers in a row do the same variation, which can kind of sound boring, but to a ballet nerd, it's kind of fun because you could even just a little bit of change in the musicality, in the way they do, the way they hold their bodies is interesting to watch the differences. So really every dancer or every watcher of ballet and contemporary dance looks for something slightly different or enjoys different things. As you see, Monique and I have both, highlighted different variations that we liked and that we're looking forward to. um, there's always common things, and being sisters, we quite often will watch a piece and both we literally will look at each other and not say anything because we both have that same feeling. What I'm looking forward to, and maybe Monique, you can tell us what you're looking forward to. We both kind of look for, did I watch, first of all, did it go by really fast? I find if suddenly you're like, didn't she just start that piece? Means that I was completely focused and loved every minute of it. I also find that if I just relaxed and watched. Now, being former dancers, former teachers, sometimes certain dancers will make you hold your breath through the whole thing because you're like, is she going to fall out of her pirouette? Is she, is that tambourine going to fall out of her hand? So if you feel like you just relaxed and enjoyed and watched it, love that.
To me, that's a difference between performers at that like certain level, like, and again, we've seen in the dance competition we go back to, like, it's not necessarily the most technical. There's just something sometimes about the ease of the dancer and their performance quality, and just, yeah, yeah.
What about you? Anything specific you're looking for or excited to see?
I think, like, to me, we were talking about like that ease of kind of as a watcher when you can just relax. I think a lot of that is like it's landings, it's like having a really good plie, like that you can land a jump or land a turn and you're just right there in your fifth.
Not hopping out of your turn. That's a big one for me. Yeah.
So yeah, that's what I like. And like I say, the turns, the jumps, like they're great. There were some amazing people last year with that kind of stuff. But yeah, it's kind of those like the extra details of that, because
Yeah.
I think because we know how hard it is to land
Yeah.
a single pirouette perfectly, like let alone a
Yeah.
triple on point in the middle of a variation, right? So to have those clean moments, oh, it's just, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
makes my
Yeah.
heart sing.
So our plan is to do at least a few videos throughout the Prix, and so keep an eye out for those. We're planning on doing at least one talking about some of the classes, and then of course one talking about the finals and our reactions.
After the Prix de Lausanne, we're going to continue with videos. We've got some great fun ballet video ideas about kind of our own history in ballet, but also just having some fun and nerding out with all of you
Mhm.
too. So
Yeah.
make sure to subscribe and comment down below what you're excited to watch in the Prix de Lausanne. If there's a variation that you're really excited about, I'll leave that list of the classical variations below. And yeah, excited to start
Yeah.
this
And
journey with all of you.
Yes. So let us know a little bit about yourself too in the comments. Are you, a young dancer? Are you kind of like us, the 30, 40, 50-year old that used to be a dancer?
Or also, I've been going back to ballet classes recently, and there's a lot of 30 and 40-year-old women that start ballet and men that start ballet in their 30s and 40s, which is just like blows my mind a little bit because there's so much to learn. But
yeah.
you're welcome too. It's awesome. Learn about this crazy ballet world that's like seems like its own unique kind of world away from so many other people in my life, at least. So I'm excited
Hmm.
to meet more people that are ballet nerds like us.
Yeah.
So all the ballet sisters out there, do some research, create your spreadsheets, create your watch lists, and nerd out with the ballet sisters. And we'll see you at the Prix.